Hey, what's up? It's Sifu Kuttel, and in this video, we're going to be using the two-section staff. Now, this is one of the more rare weapons in the Choy system of Kung Fu, but it is something that I really enjoy using, and it has taught me a lot about not only flexible weapons, but long weapon techniques. Now, we're also going to be using the Choy footwork pattern, which you can learn up here if you don't already know it. So if you don't know this video or you don't know the footwork pattern, go here first, then come back and learn this. I also have a playlist that uses the same footwork pattern to do a lot of different things from the Choy system. And it's about 20 movements long, and each one explores the signature techniques, whether we're going over basic strikes or double daggers or monk's spade or staff or sword or snake. A lot of cool videos in that playlist, so check that out. Now, for the two-section staff, you don't need it for this video, and I would actually suggest that you use a staff to practice unless you've been following my other videos in the two-section staff playlist. That way that you can keep yourself from getting accidentally hit or hurt while using this. The last thing is make sure you have enough space around you. You don't want to injure people and you don't want to break things around you. So be safe, start slow. If you can do it slow, you can speed it up and do it fast, and have fun. At the end of the video, I'll also include a couple of suggestions that you can do based on some of the other movements that we've worked on in two-section staff that you can add to this and kind of spice it up. And I do suggest that after you get this down, explore more. Play around with this pattern and then add to it. Turn, change a different direction, add your own techniques, develop your own way of training this weapon. And I think you can really learn a lot about the weapon, about your martial arts altogether, and about yourself. So, without all that said, let's go get to work. Okay, so first thing, make sure you grab the staff correctly. We're going to be doing a single end staff style, meaning that both of my thumbs point in the same direction. The other thing is, try not to slide your hand too far up, because if you get too close to the swinging section, you're gonna hit your hand, and this weapon should be used against your opponent, not against yourself, okay? Now, let's start with the first movement. We're going to do a horse stance, and then we're going to hit horizontally. Form-wise, to keep it very standardized, let's keep this at about waist level. You could be striking towards the ribs, or if they have their hands out or arms or elbows down and their guard up, you can be striking towards the elbows, the hands, the forearms, a lot of different things here, but we're going to keep it about the torso level. Okay, so we're going to step and then swing inward. If I'm aiming towards you, it'd be something like this. Okay, so start with that horse stance, swing across. Now, I want you to think that somebody's moving in for a low attack. We're going to bring it up, over the top, and then step and block low. Then take a step, bring it up over the top, and cross step and block low. This is where we're going to deviate a little bit from the original footwork pattern. The original footwork pattern would go from this horse stance position into one cross step and then turn around. The two-section staff is usually, if you look at the traditional form itself, it's a very active form. So there's a lot of moving away, a lot of advancing, retreating, big steps. You want to be very active, you want to be very mobile when you use this. So we're going to make a couple adjustments to the footwork pattern on this. All right, again, starting with our first strike, horizontal across, then step, block low, bring it over the top, block low. Okay, so I'm blocking down towards the outside, swatting as I do this, okay? Ideally, you want to make this one continuous motion. So we have 1, 2, okay? Now, from here, I'm going to swing, let my hand slide a little bit, let it go over the head and follow as I unwind my stance, and then I can slide back to here, and then we're going to go up to the head and hit, okay? So this one, we're gonna snap, swinging the staff to hit to the head. Now, aim with this part of the staff. Secrets here, okay? Aim with the end of the staff itself. Don't try to think of hitting at full extension here. This will hit, but there's also a chance that somebody can move out of the way. This is your bonus. This leverage, this extra section is a bonus. This should be for them to try to block, and then the weapon swings around and still hits them. And that's not going to happen if you hit only when the weapon is extended to here. If you hit in here, then it has room to actually go around corners. Okay, so aim with the last metal part of the staff and then hit to the head. We're going to hit to the temple here. Now you'll notice, and I'll probably do it a little bit later in this, there's going to be moments where the staff will clack. It's a flexible weapon. It's not going to be totally controlled and beautiful the whole time. So although maybe in this technique, I can kind of control and kill that momentum almost instantly, if you find yourself swinging it around and it ends up hitting the staff or swinging around like that, don't worry, it's all right, because this thing is supposed to be a little wild. You can't control it. That's a flexible weapon. All right, so again, we hit to the ribs. We're going to step away, 1, 2, unwind, hit to the head. Now, from here, we're going to retreat back. My foot steps back. I'm going to raise up, okay? There's that clack. I want to think of hitting again to the head. So one of the things you want to avoid here is going behind the body. If you look at me right now, if I was your opponent and I go like this, all I have to protect myself if you attack right now is just this little bit. And to counterattack, I have just as much of a chance for a quick counter of hitting myself with the free end, or a slow counter that you can hit me in the meantime. So it's best to keep the staff in front of you during this part, but you're gonna feel really inclined to pull back, especially because our next move too. So again, we hit to the head. We're going to step back, up, then step out to the side, and then we're going to smash downward, okay? Now it may end up pulling back further just so that you can get that full swing. That's okay in the combo, but try to keep it more forward. It's more difficult that way, but better training. And if you can generate more power from this position, you're going to have stronger long weapon strength for staff and spear, and you're going to be, you're going to have less openings, okay? Now, from this smash down position, I'm going to turn it over in my hands. So notice I slide my back hand up this time. So my left hand slides up, I bring it up over the top. This is just straight over, okay? So from this position, from here, it's just straight over, okay? I'm not gonna do any fancy swinging. Later on, if you want to do some continuous motion, that's fine, but I'm gonna turn it over, step forward, and then hit horizontally across this way, underneath my armpit, okay? My left hand just stays nice and relaxed, just next to my elbow. My right hand guides it outward here. Again, striking up towards the head, all right? So when we put that together, we go from our horse stance position, we do that first horizontal swing, then stepping back. 1, 2, over the head, hit to the head, up, down, and then from here, up and over, and then hit, okay? Now we're gonna go have some fun with this one. Again, this is all modified. A little bit, it's based off of the footwork pattern, but we have a little more liberty to move around here, okay? From this position, I'm going to spin again. So I'm going to bring my right hand back to my left, step behind, unwind, similar to what we did earlier, but instead of just hitting from here, we're gonna take one more step forward, end up in that horse stance, and that final swing, okay? So again, when we go from the strike downward, we swing over and then hit. I'm going to spin, move 1, 2, 3, and then hit. And we find ourselves back at the beginning. Again, block 1, 2, swing over the head, head hit, up, down, bring it over, head hit, then 1, 2, 3. I didn't want to deviate too far from the footwork patterns, so this is where we kind of leave off. However, I would suggest adding a couple of techniques once you have this down, and if you've been looking at the other videos from the 2-section staff playlist and you've been following me on that. So this is what I would suggest to add, and it really happens in the same section, and it's really only 2 main additions, okay? So let's start from the top one more time. From here, I hit the waist, or hit the torso, and then moving back, 1, 2, over the head. This part is all the same, but then from here, what I would suggest doing is overs and unders. Now, I wouldn't do 3 in a row, over, under. I think that would take away from the overall tempo of this. So what I would suggest is go over, drop down, go under, and then unwind into this part right here, okay? I would only do 1, but it's really up to you, okay? So again, from this position, I will go up, down, unwind, and then hit. Now continuing from here, we can do a propeller spin. Now for the propeller spin, I would suggest spinning clockwise, okay? So I'm going to spin clockwise as I step forward, and then when I get far enough forward, I'm gonna end with a poke instead of hitting with our original starting position, okay? So again, once we've come around from this position here, and me trying to stay in the camera frame, we're gonna go over, under, unwind, hit, propeller spin forward, poke. Then we can continue the original footwork pattern. Up, down, here, over, under, unwind, hit, propeller spin, poke. Okay, so there you have it. Now, like I said earlier, this is something that you can use to build upon. So let this be your foundation. Let this be, you know, we took it a further step from the alphabet. We're moving into writing words. This is the time to write your own story, okay? So use this as your start and then build upon it. Change directions, do a next move, do a next combination, change directions, add something fancy, change directions, do something else. Play with the weapon, explore different ways of using it. I suggest also striking things. Okay, no, don't get me wrong. Don't strike people, don't strike objects that will break, but go out and hit something that you're allowed to hit. Be smart about it, okay? Hit an old log, hit something that you can understand and learn how this weapon feels when it's actually used for a striking, in a striking context. Now, also, if you can safely spar with a foam-covered weapon, do that too. You can learn so much about the application of this weapon once you take it from the structure of the pattern and then go from drills and freestyle movement into sparring contexts, because each step of the way will tell you more about every other step. So your sparring will improve your form, will improve your freestyle will improve your form, and it will improve your sparring, and your form will improve both your freestyle and your sparring. So take the time, explore this weapon, and check out the rest of the playlist. You can learn a lot more from Choy Li Fut Kung Fu, and I add to it from time to time, whether it be blocks, different animal styles, kicking, Buddha palm, drunken. There's a lot in there, so check that one out. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time.